game this morning as Columbus Crew 3-0 in their first 3 games in this tournament take on Mount Pleasant Football Academy out of Jamaica. Carter Augustine alongside Bobby Warshaw, and we talked about it. Columbus Crew, they've got 3 wins, but so do Monterey and Vancouver at the top of Group C in the Premier Division here. This is an important matchup for Columbus Crew if they want to advance to the semifinals.
That's right, and we can see it here in the standings. And one thing to remember here is that you do not play the teams in your own group. You can see 5 teams per group. You play 5 teams in the other group, and everyone gets 5 group stage games. So Monterey, Vancouver, and Columbus could all end up with 15 points at the end. That makes not just the points vital, but the goal differential vital, and both Vancouver and Monterey have already beat this Mount Pleasant team.
And they beat them by quite some margin as well. Vancouver running out 6-0 winners. Monterey 8-0 winners over a very young Mount Pleasant side. They actually don't have a single 2002 player here at the tournament. They brought one of the younger sides here in their first go at the Generation Adidas Cup 2019.
That's right, and one element to keep an eye on today that you should always watch out for at GA Cup in Frisco, Texas, is the wind. Right now, it is not as high as it usually is, but it is slightly in the Columbus Crew's advantage going toward the Mount Pleasant goal.
The last 5 goals on this field have actually been scored into the winds, as that will be really interesting to watch out for. Wind always a factor in this tournament. And again here this morning, it is a blustery day in Frisco, Texas, in the shadows of Toyota Stadium, home of FC Dallas. We are underway here as Mount Pleasant Football Academy will start with the ball going from right to left in their blue and white strips, and already it's turned over immediately. Columbus trying to get forward into the attack. On the left-hand side goes Dominic Briones, and he drops it back. Columbus Crew wearing their black with yellow trim. Again, they are 3-0 after a really impressive opening victory, 4-1 against the Colorado Rapids. A late goal beat New England Revolution by a score of 1-0. And here already the Crew charging into the area, turning its defender and cutting it back towards the 6, and it's skied over within a minute. An excellent chance for Columbus Crew.
We already see the touch of skill from Tyler Wolf, number 28 for the Crew, on the right wing position. Look, using his body, low center of gravity, just squiggling by the Mount Pleasant defender and then picking up his head. Sarver blasting it over, but a good early sign for the Crew.
Very good signs indeed for the Columbus Crew, as after that 1-0 victory over New England Revolution, they got a 2-0 victory over Deportivo Toluca. They'll look to continue that good form here today as Sarver now into the area. He cuts it back along the 6 and past a couple of Columbus players, but able to retrieve it are the Crew. Dropping it back now for Noah Hall, the right back, cutting inside and dropping it back towards Dominic Briones. Good early pressure from Columbus after Mount Pleasant started with the ball. They haven't been really able to get it out of their own half. Let's go through the starting lineup for you real quick. For Columbus in the back, John Harms across the back line, left to right. Anton Sorensen, Giorgio Kaczewski, Thomas John Presthus, and Noah Hall. In midfield, Dominic Briones and Aidan Wolf. LaShawn Brown, Anthony Hernandez, and Tyler Wolf are the attackers, as here come Mount Pleasant streaking forward on a counter-attacking opportunity. Cutting it back and then looking for the cross on the edge of the area. It's defended well and cleared out of bounds for Mount Pleasant throw, and the final player for that Columbus Crew 11 up top, Samuel Sarver. Bobby, who are you looking for, especially today in this Columbus Crew starting 11?
The danger man throughout the tournament has been number 30, Aidan Wolf, in the center of midfield. Already 3 goals to his name. He started a little deeper in this game because the Crew have decided to rest their metronome number 6, Chimfamba, who has played every minute of the tournament. So Aidan Wolf drops deeper. This is him getting on the ball on the half turn. Keep an eye on his ability to keep possession for the Crew, but also join the attacks late.
Now Sarver in the right inside channel. He gets a crossway defended well by Ricardo Gaynor. Sarver reclaims possession, now charging into the area and cuts it along the 6. Wonderful save there by Adger Hutchinson, who had that one delivered right at him. He had to tip it over his own crossbar.
Great positioning by Hutchinson to get his body in front, but then the reflexes, as you said, Carter, to tip it over for a corner kick.
So Columbus looking dangerous in the opening 3 minutes here. They'll have a corner kick now. After that good save by Asher Hutchinson, we'll get you the rest of the Mount Pleasant Football Academy starting lineup here in just a second. First, a corner to deal with, in towards the near post, headed clear by Ricardo Gaynor. And now, sprinting clear of pressure are Mount Pleasant.
Coda Stewart, I see you in there. Go Crew. Who's your favorite player? Who do you think is going to get on the score sheet for the Crew today?
That's a good reminder to chime in with your questions and comments on the Twitch stream, and Bobby and I will do our best to address them. We'll have polls for you, including who you think will win this matchup. Love the interaction of this first foray into streaming games on Twitch for MLS and the GA Cup. Sarver again finding some space on the right-hand side, trying to find a teammate on the edge of the area, and it's blasted over inches over the crossbar there from Columbus Crew. And let's cut in. This is, of course, pertinent to Columbus Crew and fans. Vancouver Whitecaps take an early lead as they get a penalty, and it's well dispatched. Vancouver take a 1-0 lead over Philadelphia Union.
And we've already seen in the early stages back in this game with the Crew, some patterns are the fixture of the way they play. Look for the Crew to move the ball through the middle of the field, to systematically get it to these spots on the side and the corner of the 18, because that is truly where danger happens in soccer. Optimal assist zones via Wolf and Brown, who's here on the left.
There goes Brown now into the area, cutting around a defender and a second defender. Brown still alive and trying a little snapshot that goes just wide of the keeper's near post.
Brown showing a touch of both his taste and skill, running at the Mount Pleasant defenders, but also having the little touch to glide through them.
Here come Mount Pleasant, as still trying to find their first goal of the tournament, this really young Jamaican side. It's a foul against Mount Pleasant, so it'll be a free kick in the attacking half. Reminder that the poll is now live on Twitch to vote for who you think will be the winners in this game here today. Quickly taken free kick, and Columbus trying to move forward. In the end, Gary Mills was able to deal with the pressure for Mount Pleasant. Let's go through their starting lineup. In the back, Asher Hutchinson. We've seen a good save from him already. Across the back line, Richard Henry, Prince Christie, Ricardo Gaynor, and Dane Craig. And this is Craig trying to defend against Samuel Sarver, who touches it inside Craig and now darting into the penalty box. Sarver, and there's a good tackle right at the last vital second, as for a second it looked like Tyler Wolf was going to get a shot.
I can't trust anyone.
Have to find her.
In midfield for Mount Pleasant, Gary Mills, Micaiah McKay, Rashad Powery, and up top, Devontae Campbell, Henrik Hosang, and Malik Chang for this young Jamaican side. There's a header in the back by Dane Craig, and now moving forward come Mount Pleasant, but well intercepted in the back by Columbus.
Carter, a minute ago I noted a consistent pattern we've seen from the Crew over the years, starting when Greg Berhalter, who is now the U.S. men's national team head coach, was with the Columbus Crew. But we've already seen some variation to that, and here's another time that it occurs. Under Berhalter, the Crew were very methodical about building possession forward. One of the adjustments under new first-team head coach Caleb Porter was a little bit more variation in the attack, saying, we can possess, but maybe if the moment is right, let's go direct. Let's threaten them a little quicker. And you can see it already going down to the U17 team, who have taken a slightly more direct, not in a bad way, not in a lump it forward, but if the opponent is going to give us the option in behind, we're just fine hitting you right away.
Here the Crew again in possession. Good switch of play, and they've found Noah Hall on the right-hand side. Right back charging forward into the attack. Keeping possession, he'll drop it back now with Anton Sorensen. And Sorensen trying to dart around a couple players. That's the left back combining with the right back up in the attacking third.
Columbus Crew coming out of that missed shot on the goal kick, pressing high. We've already noted that they have the wind at their back. Almost all teams at GA Cup, when they have the wind at their back, press high. It's difficult when you're playing in the wind to break lines because the wind kills the ball. It allows the opposing defense, in this case the Crew, to press their lines higher and squeeze space, which is what we're seeing on this turnover.
They do that right there, right as Bobby's talking about it. Win back possession to the Crew.
Love when that happens, Carter.
The opposite of the commentating curse. Inside now, there's a clever first touch. LaShawn Brown sucking in the defender and drawing a foul for a free kick for Columbus.
Now, one thing to keep an eye on as this game goes along is we can see the Columbus Crew being dominant. But remember, goal differential is a factor. Monterey scored 8 on Mount Pleasant. The Columbus Crew need to keep up with that. So while they're getting chances and they look likely to score, they don't need just 1 or 2. They probably need a couple more than that.
Clipped in towards the back post. There's a strong header into the back of the net. What a goal, LaShawn Brown on 9 minutes gone, and Columbus Crew will sprint back to the center circle. What a fantastic header.
What a ball and what a finish. Hernandez picking up his head and the delicate ball in behind straight into Brown's path. And then Carter, the ability to get the power on it from that distance into the far corner, picking out exactly like he should do, on going the other direction, catching the goalkeeper going the other direction.
LaShawn Brown's second goal of the tournament, and you are right, he was right near the 18-yard box. How about that powerful header from LaShawn Brown? And the Crew get the opening that they needed inside 10 minutes here, get their first goal of the game.
Crew reference for you, very Brian McBride-esque of a header.
Wow, that's high praise indeed. And you have to say, that's spot on. The neck muscles snapping with power there for LaShawn Brown. He's able to power it past Hutchinson, the keeper for Mount Pleasant. And there is a hefty challenge from Prince Christie. And that'll be a yellow card for the center back for Mount Pleasant and on Sarver there.
And what we saw from the Crew on their first free kick that they scored on was just changing the angle a little bit. Here we see this free kick is from the middle of the goal, but a little too far out to shoot. Generally, you don't want to play service from this central of an area. You want to change the angle just a touch. But it actually looks like it's going to be Hernandez by himself.
Well, we saw what wonderful delivery he had on the goal just a minute ago. He'll line up and take a strike here and high and wide.
Always going to be difficult with the wind to keep that one getting up and down over the wall.
Well, maybe he was imbued with confidence after curling that peach of a pass towards the edge of the 18 for the opening goal just a minute ago. Columbus Crew, after 11 minutes, leading 1-0 over Mount Pleasant Football Academy. Coming up tonight, we have some really tantalizing matchups in the quarterfinals of the Champions Division, including River Plate versus Seattle Sounders starting at 5:30 Central. So make sure to tune back in this evening as the Champions Division will start the knockout portion.
I can't tell you how stoked I am for that.
That's going to be a heck of a matchup.
River Plate, just perennial powers in GA Cup, versus the Sounders, the most up-and-coming MLS academy, already with 5 professional players, including 1 MLS player on that GA Cup team.
There's a foul against Hernandez as we'll take a live look on Colorado and Monterrey. Rayados, still 0-0 in that one. Here's the captain for Mount Pleasant, Rashad Powery, playing it over to the left-hand side. This one's high in the air. You can see the wind carrying it back into play. And John Harms, the captain for Columbus, with his first interaction in this game. There's a good step, and the ball won by Richard Henry. Right-hand side now with Campbell, sizing up his defender, playing it in behind. Mackay trying to get in there and still alive in the area. On the ground there is a clearance from Dominic Briones. That was a decent run forward by Micaiah McCoy.
Delph, I see you in the chat. And yes, Leon does play later today. And Masson View Mount Pleasant is from Jamaica.
Is that French there? Nicely done. Mount Pleasant in St. Anne, Jamaica. Fairly new, established in 2016. And already making waves in Jamaican soccer. The first team getting promoted to the top division, and they lost in the semifinals just a day or two ago. It's a really cool vision that this Mount Pleasant Football Academy has for soccer in Jamaica. There's a nice little step over from Hosang and trying to cut in now towards the edge of the box, defended away by Columbus. And now Wolf gets the ball and he can send his teammate forward, but it's marshaled out of play by Ricardo Gaynor.
Tyler Wolf saw the tackle by Gaynor a few minutes ago and said, I don't want none of that.
Couple of big center backs, including this guy, Prince Christie, who is a Jamaican U17 international, just recently called up to the international picture for Jamaica. Here come Mount Pleasant again. They're growing in some confidence here. A couple step overs, but it's a good tackle along the back by Aidan Wolf. Their motto, Bobby, one love, one aim, one destiny.
Great motto. Maybe the motto of the tournament.
I like that, yeah. Let's see if GA Cup can co-adapt that. There's a good ball. Again, Sarver running the channels, and he gets the ball just before it goes out of play, trying to lure his defender to sleep, and he's done well in the end. Dane Craig to adjust to the dangerous Samuel Sarver, but Columbus still have it. Aidan Wolf. He's bossed off the ball by a strong Gary Mills challenge, and now Mills streaking forward. Mount Pleasant have some numbers here. Mills trying to slide it in behind. It was a 3-on-2, and in the end, what an important intervention by Giorgio Kochevsky. And now the goal scorer, LaShawn Brown, on the left-hand side. He stood up, and it's a foul.
I want to give a shout out to the center backs there, Kochevsky and Prestes, who handled that transition moment so well. Dropped their lines, didn't try and confront too early. Then when the third Mount Pleasant player joined to make it 3v2, Kochevsky turning his hips and ensuring the ball went the other way and taking that third player out of it.
Kochevsky, a guest player from Empire United. And a couple guest players on display in this tournament. Couple here in the starting 11 for Columbus Crew today. Briones darts around his defender, gets it over to the left-hand side, cross just along the end line, and Hutchinson comes over to claim.
I appreciate the compassion from Seldom Seen 31 in the chat. I agree, it's harsh for Mount Pleasant to face a team who has to get goal differential. Columbus Crew is going to score as many goals as possible, but at the same time, it's tournament competition, and the Columbus Crew want to move.
I want to give you a normal life.
Definitely, as LaShawn Brown picks up the foul again. He's been fouled a handful of times. Seems to be so good on the ball. Left winger for Columbus. But this is a good learning opportunity for Mount Pleasant in this tournament. And again, they have no O2 players, which is the standard age group here at the U17 level. They've brought a really young team here as they're still trying to build their pretty brand new academy. 55 scholarships announced last September for Mount Pleasant Football Academy. As the coach on display, he's the principal of the academy as well, Vaney Clark, said they want to dominate Jamaican soccer.
Do you have a favorite Jamaican player from MLS history?
Just a second here as Aidan Wolf curls that one over. I'm a Donovan Ricketts man myself. I don't know about you.
Oh, I didn't see that answer coming.
The big man in the back.
Longest goal kicks in league history. We can agree on that.
I definitely can agree. That man had a powerful strike.
I was partial to Ryan Johnson, personally.
Fair. Of course.
Pac-10 guy.
Well, there's the bias inherent. As, again, a foul on the left-hand side. Prince Christie has to be careful. He's on a yellow card here already. But Jamaican players have such a long-standing history in MLS.
Coda Stewart, In the Premier Division, which is what we're seeing now, there are two divisions at GA Cup, the Champions Division and the Premier Division. The Champions Division is the top teams from Major League Soccer based on qualifying. Carter, I'll let you take this free kick before I finish.
Yeah, I'll get back to that in just a second as Crew here. Another free kick from the left-hand side, curled in towards the area, and is still alive, and that one just bounces in. It's an awkward goal there, but it counts all the same. Columbus Crew up 2-0.
Well, just how they drew it up. Josh Wolf just throwing out his foot to try and make contact. The spin of the ball and the wind carry it into the back of the net. You're going to tell me they haven't done that in training a bunch?
I think this is exactly what Tyler Wolf was trying to do. That is unbelievable. And you mentioned Josh Wolf there. It's actually his son, Tyler Wolf.
I knew that was bound to happen at least once.
At least once. Decent pedigree to come from Tyler Wolf. And he gets his third goal of the tournament. Not sure if that'll be the prettiest goal he's ever scored.
So going back to the explanation on how many teams qualify out of each group, in the Premier Division is what we're seeing. There are 4 groups of 5 teams. The top team in each group qualifies to the semifinal. The Columbus Crew right now are in a race with Monterrey and with Vancouver Whitecaps to get the top spot.
This one's over the top for Sarver, and Hutchinson's off his line. It drifts out of play just about. Hutchinson does just enough, goes out for a goal kick.
In the Champions Division, 2 teams from each group move on. They have a quarterfinal tonight. We had already referenced the River Plate versus Seattle Sounders.
Yeah, indeed. The Premier Division, there's 5 group stage games for each team, and then just the group winners move on to the semifinals of the knockout portion. So every goal important in this one for Columbus, as Aidan Wolf now over to Briones. Good shuttling of the ball to the left-hand side. Sorensen. But he runs into a couple of blue shirts, and it's well defended by Mount Pleasant.
And Seabass wants to know where the Crew rank amongst the top teams. And the answer is they're middle of the road at the moment for Major League Soccer. The top tier, FC Dallas, LA Galaxy, Seattle Sounders, New York Red Bull, and NYCFC. The Columbus Crew is somewhere in the next group of teams, always competitive, but not quite among that top echelon.
Crew trying to build on some of the academy prospects that they've put through their ranks, including Will Trapp, Abubakar Keita. And now here comes Sarver towards the edge of the box. Good heads-up goalkeeping from Hutchinson off his line.
And fantastic third-man movement from the Crew. Into one player, into a next, and the third player runs in behind. Doesn't quite get onto it there, but a nice orchestrated movement.
Moving into the final 5 minutes of the first half here. A reminder, 25-minute halves in the group stages throughout this competition. And, of course, this is the 4th game for Columbus in a matter of 3 days. These are 17-year-old kids playing 50-minute games, right? They should be able to be sprinting all over the place.
Easy.
Easier said than done as I sit here in the commentator's booth and pulled my hamstring getting out of bed this morning.
So what we're seeing at this phase of the game is Mount Pleasant has dropped their lines. They were fairly aggressive early on, which allowed a lot of space behind them, and Columbus Crew tried to exploit that space early and directly with Sarver running behind. Mount Pleasant has dropped 7 or 8 players behind the ball deeper, which Carter actually benefits the Crew, because with the win and really the way the Crew prefer to play, keeping a little tighter, doing tight combinations, this adjustment should help the Crew.
There's a handball against Micaiah McCoy, who is an 05 player in the starting lineup today. Just turned 14, I believe.
First 05 I think we've called in these games.
There's a couple 05s on display for Mount Pleasant. They actually have an 06 on their roster as well, so a very young side here for the Jamaicans.
It would be no joke if Sarver gets this over the wall and down with this win behind him.
Yeah, we saw how difficult it was for Hernandez a few minutes ago. Sarver now lining this one up. And firing it low, what a strike! It's 3-0 Columbus Crew.
And he went a different route. He didn't say, I'm going to try and get it up and over. I'm just going to go around. He goes to the left. He catches the goalkeeper a little out of position. Usually you want the wall on one side, the goalkeeper on the other. The goalkeeper gets caught behind his 3 players, and Sarver takes advantage of it. A nice shot tucked in to the left corner.
What a strike there from Samuel Sarver, getting his second goal of the tournament. And Columbus now lead by 3-0 as we approach halftime. Well, you're right. The goalkeeper's positioning, maybe they're questionable, but still, that one was put on a postage stamp towards the goalkeeper's bottom right-hand corner. With power and placement, Samuel Sarver striking that one low and hard. So how do Mount Pleasant respond? Again, still looking for their first goal in this tournament. Trying to build a pretty young club, established in 2016.
To provide context on where we're at right now in this game with Columbus Crew chasing first place in the group, they are 3 goals behind in terms of goal differential with Monterey. So if you're thinking about in terms of aggregate and what they need, yes, they are winning, but they really need 3 more goals to walk out of this game feeling that they got a satisfactory victory.
Crew take on Philadelphia Union tomorrow. And there's a look at the standings coming into the game here today.
The Crew up 3-0, Monterey up 1-0.
This one's sprayed out to the left-hand side, kept in play by Mills. Going one-on-one now. Gary Mills into the corner. And he'll win a throw-in for his side deep in their attacking third.
I apologize. Colorado's beating Rayados 1-0 now.
Wow, what a goal there for Colorado Rapids, and that is exactly what Crew fans would want to hear. Vancouver, the other team tied atop the standings, got that early penalty against Philadelphia Union. Here's a snapshot with the left foot in towards the goalkeeper Harms.
Thank you to our wonderful moderator, Kerminator, for pointing that out.
Cheers, Kerminator. Been active throughout the tournament, as have a lot of our viewers on Twitch. The 2 streams happening throughout this Generation Adidas Cup.
I really like what I've seen from Aidan Wolf. He does a lot of the little details right. Yes, he's comfortable on the ball. He's very technical. But as you watch him, and we have the privilege of being able to see every action he takes, is he checks his shoulders often, he opens his body shape is good, and he's constantly moving to find new pockets. Those are things you would usually say about a 30-year-old, not a 16-year-old.
And how impressive is it, Bobby? He's been playing more in an advanced role throughout the tournament, and as you mentioned, Chifamba, who's been so good for this Columbus Crew side, getting a little bit of a rest in this game, they drop Wolf into a different position.
And this conversation, there's a conversation we have at GA Cup with all types of coaches, which is really fascinating. And it's not just what's the best spot for these kids at the under-17 level, but where do they project as a professional? And the conversation is actually changing a little bit, because Carter, in years past, we would see a star number 10 on one of these MLS academies, and what would we say? No chance he's playing number 10 for the first team, right? That's Ignacio Piatti, Pipa Higuain, Maxime Morales, right? Teams are going out and spending $5 million on that guy. But there's a little bit of a change coming now, where we see Paxton Pomykal at FC Dallas taking on the attacking midfield duty. Brendan Aronson at Philadelphia Union, Georgi Mihailovic at Chicago Fire. There is now a pathway for these kids to actually be the number 10. They don't have to transition to a defensive midfielder or an outside back.
And there's another impressive display by Wolf, who...
I want to give you a normal life.
dribbled around a trio of Mount Pleasant players, and here he comes streaking forward into attack, but that's well defended in the end by Dane Craig.
We got Chimfamba's brother in the chat. What's up, man? Good to have you here.
Thanks for watching. Elton Chimfamba, a U.S. Youth International, on the bench to start this one, but we could perhaps see him come into the game at some point. Each team allowed 5 substitutions. There's a good turn on the ball by Hosang. But a little miscommunication. Haven't seen a whole lot of Malik Chang up top for this Mount Pleasant football team.
Carter, you work in Kansas City, and you get to see Gianluca Busio often. 16-year-old, scored in 3 straight games. I want to talk about him when we come back in the second half because he was one of these attacking midfield stars at GA Cup in years past.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a tease because we will have that and more coming up in the second half. We'll have halftime highlights as well as Columbus Crew take a 3-0 lead into halftime against Mount Pleasant Football Academy. Stay with us. We'll be right back. You're watching 2019 Generation Adidas Cup. Academy alongside Bobby Warshaw. I'm Carter Augustine. And Columbus Crew, they've got 3 goals here in the first half. They need to really ramp this up because it's going to come down to goal difference, it looks like, in this group to see who advances.
They do, and this is what we want to see from GA Cup. We want to see the pressure. We want to see the urgency, and that's what's taking place in this game right now. The Columbus Crew are up 3-0, but they probably need some more goals to really feel like they got the win they want.
And they'll have a Mount Pleasant Football Academy side looking to score their first goal of the tournament, trying to stop them. But Columbus Crew, with a good first half, they'll look to duplicate that in the second. Stay with us. We'll be right back as you're watching the 2019 Generation Adidas Cup. Columbus Crew bringing out this goal differential as they're trying to catch up with Monterey and Vancouver in that department. But important to note, at halftime, Monterey down 1-0 to Colorado Rapids. Vancouver up 1-0 against Philadelphia Union. And Columbus Crew are now leading by a score of 3-0 over Mount Pleasant Football Academy. So plenty to play for here for the Crew, tied atop Group C in the Premier Division. As we are underway here in the second half, teams have switched sides, of course, going from right to left now. Columbus and Mount Pleasant in the blue and white.
The live point of reference right now, the Columbus Crew up 3-0, are tied on points with the Colorado Rapids, who are up 1-0. That leaves the Crew behind the Rapids by 2 in goal differential. So a true win for the Crew in this game would be to make up 2 more goals in this one.
I'll try to do exactly that as the Crew now streaking forward into attack. There's Tyler Wolf, who got a goal in the first half. How about the Wolf Pack for Columbus Crew, Bobby? Got 2 Wolves on the field.
You've been excited to use that one all game, haven't you?
Yeah, I kind of shoehorned it in there, I'm not going to lie to you. Crew now keeping things alive on the left-hand side. Sorensen whips in across towards the back post over the heads of everyone, but whoa, what a smashing swing hit from Anthony Hernandez, and it goes over, but that's a decent opportunity for the Crew.
That's exactly the player they want in that position as well. But Hernandez, as you mentioned, a big swing, not what you want in that scenario. Keep it compact, keep it tight, and make sure you keep it low.
I want to talk to you, Bobby, about Anton Sorensen, the left back, number 6. He's a guest player from Michigan Wolves, which is a fantastic youth setup in Michigan. Just get back to that in a second as the Crew coming forward again into attack. There is a clearance that is really sized and poorly dealt with in the back, and it'll be a Columbus Crew corner kick here. But Sorensen, a guest player, is a U.S. Youth International. What's it like to be a guest player, do you think, for these kids that come in and play with a team maybe they're not used to playing with?
Well, it's a joy for a player to get to experience this. Michigan Wolves not at the event. Sorensen gets to come as a guest from the Crew and get to be part of everything that's taking place, like the Adidas Lounge. As far as fitting into the team, it's really hard, whether you're 15 or a full professional, going to a new squad, going to a new locker room, and just figuring out where you fit in as a person and your personality, not just on the field. But everything we've seen suggests Sorensen has done it well.
Here he is streaming forward from that left back position. See why he's a U.S. Youth International. Curling it in with the left foot. That's just over the crossbar. Keeper wasn't sure. The wind really playing tricks with that one.
The wind catches it on both sides. Sorensen puts the crossover, doesn't read the wind properly, but it almost caused problems.
Take another look at here, the wind wreaking havoc in Frisco, Texas. Seems like every year you can count on a few things, and the wind being one of them. As this competition just seems to grow year by year. It's the first time Mount Pleasant have been involved in the GA Cup, and they were talking about how excited they were to be invited and that they hope to be back in the future.
Love to see cool SWP team tuning in from the Cayman Islands cheering for Mount Pleasant. Love that. That's awesome.
I'm sure they have a little better weather than what we've got, although it's been pretty nice here in Dallas for the most part. First day was interrupted due to weather, and they moved those games on Saturday to yesterday. Wouldn't mind being in the Cayman Islands watching this on the stream right now, though, myself.
I want to go back to the Busio question. You see him train, you see him play on a daily basis. What is it about Gianluca Busio that has allowed him to thrive? And as I said, now scored in 3 straight Major League Soccer matches.
Well, we saw, as you mentioned, we saw him here a couple of times at the GA Cup and was standing out as a number 10 prospect for Sporting Kansas City.
And I'll tell you what, I'll be honest, I wasn't sold. I had heard things all year. I'd seen him with youth national teams. I thought he could have performed better at GA Cup, but now we see him crushing it with the first team.
And that experience perhaps helped him to propel to the first team. In talking with Peter Vermees, he said he's starting to earn playing time. And it's not, here we go in a second, because Sarver's in behind and just puts that one wide. He is gesturing to his teammates. It was kind of between a cross and a shot there, but good buildup from the crew. But back to Gianluca Busio, Vermees saying it's not because he's young that he's playing him now, and it's not because he's a talented prospect. It's because he's really starting to push those senior Sporting Kansas City players for playing time, a midfield trio that is fantastic for Sporting KC as well. And the reason is, he said he's got something that a lot of American players just don't have, and it's a creativity and thinking outside the box and a feel for the game that he sees passes that a lot of players just don't see. I think that was evident last year when he got a game-winning assist against the Houston Dynamo. Here's a wonderful first touch now, as streaking in towards the area was the Mount Pleasant player. Looks like that is a halftime sub for Mount Pleasant that we didn't get notified of. Romario Gibbs coming into the game, an 04 prospect wearing the number 10.
And a great ball and a great pass. And we just see, we've mentioned multiple times, the younger age of these Mount players. Gibbs not quite physically developed enough to explode past the crew defender.
Long throw in towards the near post, and it's headed out of play. So Mount Pleasant will get a corner kick here. They look to improve and develop their young players here. Romario Gibbs, the youngster.
Hello, folks. What floor?
Oh, we're car shopping.
Go over to take this corner kick. Host of players coming up, including the big Prince Christie, Jamaican U17 international, and he's stretching and calling for the ball along the back post. Gibbs taking his time. I'm here. And referee Estefania Estrada just wanted to have a talking to with some of the players. So now here comes the delivery from Gibbs towards the 6. Towering header there from Prestis. Now here comes Christie.
Well, a tough call for the referee here, not for the foul, but is there a card to go with it? If you're going to put an elbow up at a player's neck and head region like that, you leave yourself open to a decision from the referee.
And of course, Christie was the man to go into the book in the first half with the yellow card, so perhaps fortunate there. And Romario Gibbs just couldn't stretch enough to intercept that pass from the goalkeeper. So the crew looking to build out of the back here.
Lovely turn by Hernandez, receiving it from one side, open the hips, get it off to the other one, and now the crew are attacking space.
Sarver again on the right inside channel. There's a good touch away as Ricardo Gaynor was able to recover and poke that one out of bounds for a corner kick. But from back to front there went the Columbus crew. Wonderful move to move forward in attack. And they'll have a corner kick on the far side. Hernandez, who we've seen with excellent delivery so far in this game. Outswinger towards the 18 over the heads of everyone. Pumped in now along the back, and it's deflected out of play. It's another halftime substitution, and that's Javin Williams, who is an 06 into the starting lineup now for Mount Pleasant. Right in front of us there, it's a throw-in for Columbus Crew. Looks like we've had a few substitutions at halftime, and the Crew made a change for themselves. Archimedes Ordonez in the game for Columbus Crew. And he checked in for Aidan Wolf, so perhaps a deserved break for Aidan Wolf, who's been fantastic in this tournament for the Crew.
And what I think we're seeing is Brown going into the middle. Wolf, who is a central player, comes off. Ordonez appears to be playing as left wing, taking Brown's job, who is playing in a rotating central and right position, switching on and off with Tyler Wolf. That was a complicated explanation, but I'll try and continue to explain it as it develops throughout the half.
Interesting that players changing positions. There's a foul against against the Crew, so it'll be a Mount Pleasant free kick inside their own half. Again, thank you for all your comments and questions on the Twitch stream. Really appreciate that. We'll have a player of the game poll coming for you as well. Vote on who you think the player of the game has been. Sorensen, look at that touchdown inside, just didn't hit it the way he wanted to. Back heel attempt is snuffed out, though, by the Crew double team, and again, they'll try and charge forward. Ordonez tried to play it over the top there. He gets it back. And now on the right-hand side with Noah Hall. Drops it back for Briones.
So one thing we've seen from Briones a few times is when he receives the ball, he closes his body to the front of the field, which you can understand. It's hectic in the middle and he wants to protect it. But if he can be a little bit more confident and receive it with his body facing toward the opponent's goal, it will allow his team to continue to drive forward.
Big switch of play from Noah Brown to the right-hand side, and now in come Crew, and it's back with Brown, chipping it over the top. There's a high boot, and it's always easy for the referee when the offending player puts their hands up like they didn't do anything. Hopefully that didn't catch the face of Mount Pleasant player who is down prone on the ground.
Let's be honest, Carter. I saw you take the last bread roll at dinner last night and then pretend like it wasn't you.
It wasn't me. I got my hands up, so it obviously wasn't me. So our player of the match poll is live now. You can vote on who you think has been the man of the match for Mount Pleasant. Prince Christie is the option, and then 3 Columbus players as they are up 3-0 here in this game. LaShawn Brown got the opener, Tyler Wolf with the second, and Samuel Sarver with the third goal. The 3 goal scorers, the options for the man of the match. Now here's a ball in behind for Malik Chang to chase. The number 9 for Mount Pleasant forces a corner kick. It's been a bit of a lonely struggle for the number 9 up top for Mount Pleasant at times in this game.
And the Crew have come off into the second half a little flat. I don't know if it's the loss of Aidan Brown.
There's a crossing towards the 6. Sorry, Bobby. Well dealt with by John Harms.
Apologize there, Carter. My fault. But I don't know if it's the loss of Aidan Wolf in the middle. I don't know if it was a tactical switch, but they haven't looked quite as threatening in the second half.
Sarver with the step over and lays it off for the advancing Anton Sorensen. Skies a cross that bounces over the head of the defender in the area now. Poked towards Sarver, trying to get it back on his right foot. 50-50 in the box, and it's won by Columbus and smashed home. The substitute, Archimedes Ordonez. Good work there, and it's 4-0 Columbus.
A crunching tackle by Ordonez to win the ball, and then the calm finish just over the near post. But I will say that I think he got away with one. As we look at this tackle come in, look at his studs up. His boot is raised, and yes, he wins the ball. But Carter, for me, that is a foul, if not a yellow card. Ordonez with a nice finish, but got fortunate on the original tackle.
And hopefully Javin Williams is okay. Because again, he is a 2006 participant, which means just turned 13 on April 4th. That's my mom's birthday, so I bet he's a very nice person.
That's how that works.
That's how that works. But he's playing up 4 years in this competition And it's a hefty challenge there that's left him on the turf. Looks like he can trot off the field here, and hopefully Williams will be okay.
I think this will be a learning moment for the referee crew, because Ordonez went in with the studs exposed, and yes, he does get the ball, but we found in professional scenarios that getting the ball doesn't matter if you do go into the challenge like that.
Because it is a hefty challenge there in the box from Ordonez. But nothing called, and it winds up being a goal for Ordonez and the crew. Now up 4-0 as they try and chase the goal difference. And Williams will trot back onto the field. Glad to see that he's okay.
And one thing to think about, the crew still need 2 goals to really feel like they got to win from this. They are 2 goals behind in goal differential to the Colorado Rapids as they are each level on points. I apologize, to Vancouver, not the Rapids. The Rapids are beating Monterrey, helping Columbus right now.
Yeah, a little MLS help as Columbus Crew benefiting from the Rapids leading over Monterrey. Again, Bobby Warshaw and myself, Carter Augustine, here on the stream. You've been watching our coverage of GA Cup 2019 all week long. And we'll continue tonight as there's a nice turn in midfield. As tonight we've got the quarterfinal matchups, including River Plate versus Seattle Sounders on this very stream starting at 5:30 Central. What a matchup that will be. River Plate 3-time champions here at the GA Cup.
And remember these names for the Sounders: Brian Leyva, Josh Atencio, Ray Serrano, Daniel Robles, Alfonso Acampo Chavez. 5 professional players already in the Sounders U17 team. You can catch them tonight.
They made a great run last season, and they'll try to do the same here this year. Here's a free kick and an opportunity for Mount Pleasant. And that one gets caught up in the wind and is skied high by the captain, Rashad Powery. Let's maybe talk about the other quarterfinals, because we have some really tantalizing matchups for MLS teams involved. The other one at 5:30 is Valencia versus Real Salt Lake. Of course, RSL, what an academy they have started to churn out. And then the second pairing of quarterfinals at 7:30 p.m. Central. West Ham takes on Los Angeles Galaxy, and Dinamo Zagreb will play FC Dallas. As a couple of substitutions now into the game, Evan Creighton checks in, and Elton Chifamba.
Why stay in and take it easy?
Chance to see really one of the top performers in this tournament for Columbus Crew.
And the crew now are in a 4-1-4-1 or a 4-3-3 with a single pivot, however you want to call it. They started the game in a 4-2-3-1, but look for Chifamba to be by himself in the single pivot, and Briones, number 48 next to him.
There's a rip from distance, and that's a decent hit from Devontae Campbell. Goes high and wide.
And Briones to push higher and to join current number 10, Brown, in the middle of the attacking midfield.
Really excited to see U.S. youth prospect Chifamba coming onto the field. Here again come Columbus Crew. Sarver cutting it towards the edge of the area. Brown just manages to get that away. And now Ordonez trying to curl it, and it's awkwardly handled, but in the end handled well by Hutchinson.
And you can see what Ordonez meant to do there. Picks up his head, sees the far post open, opens his hips, but just doesn't get enough bend on it and went straight into the goalkeeper's hands.
Prince Christie charging up from his center back position, trying to pressure Columbus Crew. It goes out for a Crew throw. We're into the final 8 minutes here in this Group C and Group D matchup between Columbus Crew and Mount Pleasant Football Academy. 25-minute halves here at the GA Cup. Sarver trying to get involved. Will drop well deep, pick it up, and his pass is read well in the back by Ricardo Gaynor.
We've seen the Crew get complacent in the second half.
Here's a cross over towards the far post, and some claps from the Mount Pleasant bench because they like the idea there. Looked like Romario Gibbs was streaking free, but Devontae Campbell just couldn't quite pick him out. Now down the left-hand side, Ordonez. Little step over, cutting in on his right. Ordonez finds Sarver. Good touch to keep that one for the Crew. Sarver has a rip and had some steam behind that one. Required an excellent save by Asher Hutchinson.
Great strike by Sarver from the top of the box, but only a better save from Hutchinson to keep him off the board.
That's a fantastic save from Asher Hutchinson. Sarver turning on a dime and smacking that one. Ensuing corner kick in towards the near post. Headed away by Mount Pleasant. And it was off a Crew player in the end, so it'll be a Mount Pleasant throw, and that allows for another Crew substitution. Anthony Samways will check into the game. Looks like that'll be a change along the back line as he is replacing Noah Hall.
Samway's a consistent player for the Crew in GA Cup 2018.
Throwing deep in their own half. Mount Pleasant. Gibbs, that's a good ball in towards the middle, but it's in between three players in the end. A little miscommunication between some of the attacking players for Mount Pleasant. And now press this. Good little V-turn to opening things up on the right-hand side. How about that turn from Ordonez? And now he's striding into the area. Ball is won away by Mount Pleasant. It'll be a corner kick for Columbus.
And Ordonez has definitely been a threat since he got on the field.
Archimedes. Wasn't that the name of the owl in Sword in the Stone?
I love the question. I have no idea what the answer is.
Here's a corner kick for the Crew. Curled in towards the top of the box and just past the stretch Crew. There's a really good second ball played in and hands to the head from Kaczewski. Well, actually, it's put into the back of the net. There's a spill by the keeper at the end, and so it's 5-0 to the Crew.
And a second goal for Brown on the day. Put back into the box by Kaczewski. A nice soft touch.
And perhaps some questions of offside there as Brown picks up the loose change. And I was like Kaczewski, I looked away because it looked like the first touch there had let the Crew down in the area after what you called, what a wonderful delivery that is on the second phase of that set piece by Kaczewski.
It was, and the Crew aren't going to be asking questions about the offside. It looks to me in this replay, in the replay we just saw, that he was not off. It was a good call by the referee, Crew. And now the Crew still need one more. They're a goal behind the Vancouver Whitecaps on goal differential with one game, and here now 5 minutes left in this one.
So they'll be pumping bodies forward. Credit to the refereeing crew there, right on the spot to judge that Brown was in an onside position, get his second goal of the game. Here again, you can vote on our player of the game match. Thank you for everyone voting. 95% of the votes said Columbus will win, so that was, I think, well adjudged by our viewership. As we're into the final 4 minutes and change here of this one. Again, credit to our refereeing crew. It's an all-woman refereeing crew here today. They've done a pretty fine job, you'd have to say.
They have done a fine job. The referee crews throughout GA Cup have done nicely, keeping the games calm, mostly across the board, having excellent calls.
And, of course, this is good training for them as well as they try and continue their professional development. This one stood up towards the near sideline, asking a lot of Prince Christie, who has moved forward into a bit of an attacking role, the center back in Jamaican U17 International. Mount Pleasant throwing numbers forward as they'd like to get their first goal as well in this tournament. Time running out for them to do that, and time running out for Columbus as they try and improve their goal difference.
I believe we have a final from Vancouver. Whitecaps win 1-0. which means Columbus still need one more goal to get even with that 1 goal differential.
Well, you're wrong. Sorry.
So the Columbus Crew leading by 5-0, but they'll be chasing more here in the final couple of minutes of regular time. And it'll be a corner kick they'll have to defend as Mount Pleasant still pumping the ball forward, and they'll make another change here. Checking into the game, another 0-4 prospect, Zyvon Robinson.
Tell you what, I'm putting early money on for Mount Pleasant GA Cup 2021.
How about this experience these kids are getting? And this nascent Mount Pleasant Football Academy. One love, one aim, one destiny. And they have everyone forward.
Oh, we're
towards a near post and defended away.
And we're just getting word from our producer, Josh, that I have horrible math.
Yeah.
That my math is very, very bad. Carter is shaking your head like you already knew that, and I don't appreciate that one bit.
Well, I knew that part. I also wasn't up to date on the goal difference, so shout out to the truck for getting us that information. Archimedes is the owl. So, yeah, thank you.
They just have a
right
running
there.
list of things we messed up throughout the game to throw at us in the last minute.
I'm right there, Archimedes. Archimedes Adornes. Thank you, Paige, our director, helping me out in that regard.
So the Crew are level at the top of the group. One more goal would put them alone as the potential winners going into the last group game tomorrow.
And actually, as the Crew streaking forward, they might be ahead because in terms of the order of tiebreakers, goal difference is just ahead of goals scored. So the Crew have conceded one. Vancouver yet to concede, but that means they've scored one more goal than the Vancouver Whitecaps. But like you mentioned, they'll want to get another goal here in the final stages as we move into the final 10 seconds of regular time. Mount Pleasant trying to make that final substitution, and Zyvon Robinson will be allowed to join the game. Slowly trotting off the pitch, Dane Craig. I think Robinson will be a bit aggrieved with his teammate not allowing him to get a few extra seconds on the pitch here. Minimum of 4 minutes added on. You can hear the Columbus bench screaming to their team that there are 4 minutes added on here. There's brave goalkeeping from Hutchinson as he punches that one from an on-rushing Columbus Crew player, and it's a foul against Mount Pleasant. So it'll be a free kick here for Columbus as they again are looking to build that goal differential. Only one team from each group will advance to the semifinals in the Premier Division. The cluster at the top between the Crew, Vancouver, and Monterey. You hear it from the Columbus sideline. They're well aware of the implications of the scoreline in each of these games. And they'll put everyone into the area. Chifamba clipping it towards the back post. Brown tried to get there. It's still alive, but offside there on the back post against Columbus.
Carter, you always get to ask questions, so here's my question for the day.
Okay.
Man of the match?
It's a tough one. I would have said Aidan Wolf, but he went off a little early, so I'm going to have to go with Sarver. I think Sarver's had a good job running the channels all throughout the game. He scored a wonderful free kick. I think he might have been involved in a second here in the second half.
Samuel Sarver's a good shout. I'll go with Sean Brown, 2 goals. And what's interesting about Brown, he's a 2003, which means he is still eligible to play in this tournament next year. But his birthday, January 1st, 2003, hours eligibility here. Love little notes like that.
Yeah, that's New Year's baby, and that means he gets a little bit of extra eligibility. There's a wonderful crossfield pass from Giorgio Kaczewski, another guest player who's performed well in this game for the Crew. Streaking into the box of the Crew, and then just tripping on his own feet, Evan Creighton, as he got into the area. And now good work from the Crew to regain possession and draw a foul.
And the Crew have counter-pressed well all day, which is what we just saw. They lost possession, and they don't retreat, but instead they stay running forward. They put pressure on the ball immediately to win it back quickly.
Referee counts off the 10 yards, and Elton Chifamba, one of the better passers in the tournament. He'll look to deliver this free kick in towards the near post and put home. It's a substitution connection. Chifamba to Creighton, and Columbus Crew get another all-important goal.
We have been wanting to see Chifamba's passing ability all day. We finally got a touch of it. Look at this little up and down cross straight into the path of Creighton, who really just has to redirect it 2 yards. And what a big goal for the Crew that could be. If, at the end of tomorrow, the Crew go through by 1 goal, we're going to remember this last-minute finish by Creighton.
Yeah, that's a clutch performance from Columbus Crew, who know that every goal will matter as they try and battle it out with Vancouver at the top of Group C in the Premier Division. Columbus Crew tomorrow will take on the Philadelphia Union at 12:30 Central. We don't have it streamed, but we will have it on one of our auxiliary cameras, so you'll be able to see highlights. But here comes Mount Pleasant into the area, and a late chance to try and get their first goal of the game through Malik Chang, but the goalkeeper, John Harms, the captain, hasn't had a lot to do, but he was alert to the danger there. Here come the Crew again, and it'll be a corner kick for the Crew late on.
Thank you to everyone that's been out there in the in the Twitch chat with us. About to say the Slack chat as if we're here in the office.
Yeah, that brings back some memories.
In the Twitch chat, you guys have all been awesome. Thank you for hanging out with us here today.
Today, yesterday, the day before, and all this week. Really appreciate everyone tuning in for the Twitch streams here, as Crew have a late corner kick, leading 6-0 against Mount Pleasant. Curled in towards the 6, headed clear, and it's headed out of bounds by Columbus, so it'll be a goal kick for Mount Pleasant. Time running out in this one. Mount Pleasant, for their part tomorrow, will play Sporting Kansas City at about the same time, 12:30 Central. And that one is on an auxiliary stream as well, so you'll be able to catch all the highlights from that game. And again, reminding you, come back this evening, because what a matchup this will be on this very stream. River Plate versus Seattle Sounders in the quarterfinals of the Champions Division. But that's all she wrote for this game in Group C and D in the Premier Division. Columbus Crew trot out 6-0 winners over Mount Pleasant.